nerds, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. I'm Tom Connors. We have with us the boss man, Andre, here for as long as he can last. How you doing?
Greetings, everyone. I'm doing good, but I may have some limited schedule today. So let's get this show on a roll.
We have Six with us as well. How you doing, Six?
Good morning. Doing wonderful. I've got all day because I am off this weekend. It's 55 degrees outside. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it's an abnormally short winter in the Midwest.
Yeah.
For once. But that
That's right. I'm only 2'5".
Yeah. But that groundhog promised us an early spring, and I'm holding him to it.
Yeah.
So
well, we're going to fry him up.
Yeah, that's right. We got Paul, and she's a vegetarian or vegan. So she means business. We also have Paul from the Great White North this morning. How you doing?
Yeah, the temperature just shot up today. It's going to be a warm weekend.
It got up to 57, I think, here yesterday. It's crazy. I think that was a new record. We hit a new record
10
last
this weekend, which 10 Celsius, of course. So we've got metric weather up here in Canada.
Yeah, you guys suck. But anyway, we also have with us this morning a special guest. We have Mr. YellowFlash. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good to have you. It's been an eventful week out there in the entertainment world.
I'll say.
We're going to break down a few things that we have to get caught up on. May discuss a few things that we have already discussed, but we'll definitely get into all that as we get rolling along here. Anyway, we got some super chats. Let's break into those. If you guys want to participate, that's the easiest way to do it. You can become part of the show. We got Stone Racket here who sends us in a super sticker. Is it a little black kitty?
It's a purple kitty.
Or purple kitty, whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Little purple kitty. Thank you so much. I took a guess and I got it right. We got Packing Protons in the house. How you doing? Sending in $10 right off the bat. It says IRRC. What does that even mean anymore? I can't remember. IRC. My brain's not working this morning.
I don't remember.
Didn't Iger say they are buying back stock? Do not recall if they ever said why they were doing that. If so, to stave off pelts somehow. Doubt it's to go private. Yeah, I kind of asked Mexican Iron Man about this yesterday, and he kind of gave me an answer to it. And he kind of explained to me, and Andre probably knows this a little better than I do, but like with them acquiring or getting into like the deal with, not acquiring because they didn't buy it, but the deal they got into with Epic Games and stuff like that. Whenever you buy stuff and do things like that, you can create new stock and then buy it back or something like that. It's like, I don't know. Andre, do you understand it at all?
Well, as a general thing, yes. But I have not fully researched exactly what he meant here about buying back stock, because I also paused when he said that during the earnings call, and I haven't been able to ascertain exactly what he meant with that after the fact. As Mexican Iron Man told you yesterday, typically what you will do when you issue new shares is you have an emission, which is when you create new shares. But you can also buy back existing shares and kind of like remove them from circulation, if you will. So those are two possible options. But how that pertains to their newest acquisition here, I would have to read up on that. I don't want to speculate and give the wrong information. It
'cause
sounds puzzling to me.
So I was asking Mike, I'm like, aren't they kind of shorting the stocks there, basically, or whatever they're doing, or diluting the?
Well, they're not shorting.
Diluting the value. I meant, sorry, diluting the value. That's what I meant.
No, they're increasing the value, but they're diluting their cash position.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You could say that it is kind of like a way of artificially increasing the share price, because there would then be fewer Disney shares which are freely available. So again, there's like something sketchy about it, but I don't know exactly the machinations that they're trying to achieve here.
Paul,
you were saying, Paul?
No, I was just going to say that it's kind of frowned upon to do that too often. But the other thing is, maybe the smartest thing Disney could do is go private.
There's a problem with that, though. That's a lot of shareholders that you'd have to buy out.
Oh, I know.
And, they may not always want to do that, but of course, if you want to do that, then a buyback is the first step on that road. And as Will Bloom says, buybacks bump share prices. Yeah, they do that by way of reducing the number of shares available.
It just depends on whether they feel that they're on a holy crusade with all this bullshit, and they feel that is the only way they can maintain this approach that they've taken on. If they really do strongly believe that they're on this crusade of diversity, equity, inclusivity, and everything that they're doing, then they got to take it in-house, because the people who are demanding to get on the board, they're going to change all that.
I love how you said that, a holy crusade. I never thought of it like that. Is truth right there. That's what this is. It's like a religion, so it is a holy crusade.
It is.
Yeah. That's good. That's good, Paul.
You may use it.
I think I will.
I guess.
Yeah. No, it's the jihad for DEI.
Because they're not budging. That this is what, no matter what Iger is talking about. I mean, he's made some pronouncements about being a little bit, maybe we should make stuff that our audience actually wants. But the documents that they have online, and they even have a live dashboard that shows how Disney is doing, in its 50%, its percentages with regards to the underrepresented, which is
or to put it another way, how they're doing with their quotas.
Quotas, right, which are against American laws.
Yeah. YellowFlash, you were saying.
Oh, so where's that dashboard thing at? I want to see that.
It's in. I'll post a link here.
Okay.
All right. And then we've got Stone Racket again sending in a super sticker. This time it's a little Shiba dog. He is saying hiya. Well, thank you for that, Stone Racket, and hiya. Hopefully you're having a good morning. We've got Nova Omega sends in £2. Says, did you guys fire Script Doctor? No, he was on Midnight's Edge last night.
Yeah, and he'll be here in half an hour. He's in a meeting.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Robinson sends in $9.99. Says, so Pedro is officially Mr. Fantastic. I'm done with MCU. Deadpool is my last movie. They had to hire one of the most unlikable people. Yeah, I don't know how.
He just gets all the work lately.
Yeah, the other thing too is in the Latino community, they're kind of bugged because he's getting normal work. He's not, apart from Narcos, he is not doing any drug dealers. He
was a cop in that anyway.
Pardon me?
Yep.
He was a cop in that anyway, but I think what you're alluding to is the character he was playing actually was of.
Yeah. So my point is that
same race
the Latino community is still segregated as drug dealers and such, and Pedro Pascal is getting all the white replacement work.
So as much as I hate him personally, he's actually a decent actor. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
He's a good actor.
He's an awful Mr. Fantastic though, because he's too old for that part. And
I think you're right, Flash. I think your theory about them killing him off or turning him into the.
They're going to turn him into the Maker, I think is what they're going to do, make him the villain of probably not that movie, but a future MCU movie. They're going to
I
go
don't
the
think
ultimate
so.
They'll go well, it's just a theory I've got. I think they'll
There's-
turn him
it's a
into the
fine
maker.
theory. Can I say why I disagree?
Yeah, sure.
The reason is because Kevin Feige does not consider him white. He considers him to be a Latino and therefore not white. Whereas if they really were going to make Mr. Fantastic a villain, why not have him a white man?
Well, he wears a helmet, so it's not like you really be able to see anyway.
Yeah,
Disney is doing a lot of race swapped bad guys though. Like they're enjoying doing black female bad protagonists though.
Yeah, this is a good
they
point.
made Kang black.
Yeah, they did. Too bad about the actor they chose, but that's a different different matter. And of course,
vet your actors. That's the rule. Is try to find out, get an actor that isn't beaten up on their girlfriends. It's always that should be one of the check boxes in that inclusivity document that I was talking about. No beating up on your girlfriend.
People are asking about Mr. Fantastic wearing a helmet. In the Ultimate Universe, Mr. Fantastic becomes evil, and he calls himself the Maker. And I forget how, but his brain becomes enlarged. So because he looks weird, he wears a silver helmet. His face also gets damaged, too. He's literally just Dr. Doom, but Mr. Fantastic. Yeah.
Funny because they already had the Dr. Doom in the Ultimate Universe.
They did, yeah.
It was also pretty lame compared to the regular version.
Well, and the point is, they've got such a history of comics and stories to get through before they get to that. And there's that one video that is circulating, which I've now seen twice, where someone's put together a bunch of clips of Marvel, Disney people being told not to read the comic books. And even Taika Waititi was saying, once Thor is done, the first thing I'm going to do is actually read a Thor comic. Have you seen that, YellowFlash?
I
that
did.
sequence?
Yeah, I did.
So it's abominable. That should infuriate every single fan. I mean, the reason that Marvel actually created a studio and started getting their property back was they were sick and tired of all these other IP holders mucking with their IP and not doing it the way it was in the comics. And for a brief time, it worked. It actually did work. But that's a horrific video.
Yeah. I'm going to jump Super Chats a little bit since we're on the Marvel topic here.
Yep, sorry, I'm jumping.
Sonic says for $5, YellowFlash, best to skip Deadpool 3 as the person that cocked Spider-Man in the comics is writing Deadpool 3. As
which writer? He's been cucked multiple times now by multiple writers.
Who's writing him now?
Dan Slott's cucked him. The new guy, Zeb Wells, that's who's doing it. It has to be Zeb Wells. Zeb Wells actually can be a decent writer. He's just awful on Spider-Man. This Spider-Man comic that's going on right now is dog shit.
What's with these people who screw up on Spider-Man? Because Dan did really good work on She-Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk run I hear is good, but
yeah, it's fantastic. It's really good.
Other than Superior Spider-Man, I didn't like much of his 10 years on Spider-Man. The character really didn't go anywhere. He spent a decade in the same spot. Like he never really grew or changed. It was just mediocre Spider-Man for 10 years. Other than that 1 year where he took a chance and put Dr. Octopus in his body, I liked that run. I thought that run was interesting.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so did I. Because I knew you knew he was going to come back.
Oh, Doc Ock is great.
Yeah. Superior Spider-Man, you mean? Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
I liked that run a lot. That was his best work. Yeah. That's his best work, I think.
Yeah. Again, it just lasted too short. Should have kept it going a year or two more.
Yeah, you could have got 2 years of stories out of that for sure. Because it was really interesting to look at him, watch him interact with other heroes. Because they had no idea that, what was going on. And here's Spider-Man just being this huge narcissist dick to everybody. And like everyone's like, what's going on with you? It was an interesting run. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Michelle asked if this, no, that's fine. Michelle asked if this will be a topic on Monday night. And I told her, you guys bring up whatever you guys want to talk about. And Tobert asked, no script doctor today? Well, it looks like you got the black version of Script Doctor in your thing there. I didn't know you had a black brother Script Doctor.
Well, you know, my family's very diverse. It has to fit those quotas in Hollywood.
Well, would he be your brother or your brother? Brother.
Yes.
Well, my children no longer meet quotas, so I've had to swap them out.
Did you gender swap or race swap them?
Well, we're still working on it. We're auditioning some of the kids in the other neighborhoods.
Right. Well, you want to get a good pair. You know the best. You know
exactly.
Want to make sure the DEI points get good DEI score. You know.
Well, yeah, that's required now.
If you want to get a car, you're going to have at least one black kid.
When you fill out loans now, you put bisexual somewhere.
Yes, I have 3 children. One is bisexual, one is black, and one is Asian.
The one is bipedal.
I don't know if that bi counts.
Yeah, I'm making it up. I'm hoping that the adjudicator doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
One is bifurcated.
Yeah. And the other one's bicarbonate of soda.
Well, I'm trying to get through these super chats. Oh,
very good. Triglyceride.
Tim Hayes. Yeah, we got Tim Hayes here, who's been a member for 31 months. Thank you so much for the support, Tim. Big supporter of the channel. We got the DCB Titan here sending in 5 Canadian bucks. It says Crusade, a great Crusade. Want to get Exterminatus up in here? Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Andre's probably the only one who knows who this is. Who's Exterminatus? Oh, you don't know? It must be someone during the Crusades, I would imagine.
It's not ringing a bell for me.
Yeah, and me neither. I'm not.
A lot happened during the 3 of them. So.
Yeah, which Crusade?
Yeah, that's true. Which Crusade? I'm gonna steal that for Nunchuckosaurus.
Thinking about, I've been really wanting to watch the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven again. I might do that tonight.
Yeah, that was a Crusade one, wasn't it?
It was, but the director's, that's one of the few movies where I think a director's cut really did save it. Like that director's cut is night and day with the theatrical cut.
I remember now it's technically the only movie I guess Ridley Scott made that doesn't have a director's cut since he did Alien. I was going to say I found the other movie he didn't do a director's cut to. Ridley Scott's Hannibal. I watched that the other day. I was like, oh yeah, he hasn't done a director's cut of this one yet. Then I'm watching it going, yeah, his brother should have directed this.
And still, there's a fan edit, and it's better.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, that's the one book I never read of his, so I don't know how it's compared to the book, but
it's. I honestly, I think it's pretty disappointing compared to the book.
I would imagine so, because I mean, I like getting in a good debate about Manhunter versus Red Dragon because Red Dragon's actually closer to the book, but
I've never seen Manhunter.
Manhunter's fun, but it's kind of like seeing two different directors take on the same story. And the big major difference, of course, is Hannibal's not as prevalent in Manhunter. In fact, you have one scene where he literally talks to him on the phone.
Oh, I was gonna say I looked this up. This is a 40K reference.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, as Andre was going to say, I think he was going to say they artificially build him up a little bit more in Red Dragon.
Yeah,
but
in Red Dragon,
the ending of the book and some other stuff in Red Dragon is closer to the book.
Red Dragon
there's some
is a
stuff
great
in
movie.
Manhunter that's better.
I don't care if it's similar to.
The difference is mainly just the main character, right? Like, because in Red Dragon,
he's great. That actor is great in that movie.
Yeah, you get kind of the whole story there too, but it's like it's a little bit more concentrated on Hannibal, like Andre's saying. Manhunter, you get a little bit more into Will's head because that's kind of the difference between him and Clarice. And this is why I always say Silence of the Lambs is just a ripoff of Red Dragon anyway. But the big difference between Clarice and Will is Will doesn't need Hannibal Lecter's help to find the killer. He just needs him to get into the mindset. Clarice doesn't do a goddamn thing. Hannibal Lecter tells her everything she needs to know.
He leads her around. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like both those movies a lot. The one I don't really care for is the third one.
Well, that's what I was just talking about. That's the one Ridley Scott directed. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I didn't know he directed that.
That's what I was saying. It's the only one he doesn't have a director's cut for. Yeah. But that was a work for hire for Dino anyway, wasn't it, Andre?
Yeah. And to sum it up before we move on here, because we have some video game talk since we have YellowFlash here. Just to sum up Red Dragon versus Manhunter, I would say Manhunter is the better movie. Red Dragon is the overall closer adaptation.
Yeah. And it just depends on your taste. I mean, both of them work really well if you want to watch them in the trilogy. I mean, you just got to just accept that somebody else is playing Hannibal. But What's-His-Face does a decent job. I forget the actor's
Brian
name.
Cox.
He's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you like fava beans and red wine, then that's good.
He's only in the movie twice, though, in Manhunter, though. You got to keep that in mind. Like twice or three times tops, I think. Can't remember.
That's funny because he's like, I remember the VHS for that. He was like right on the whole back of him. The back of the box was him.
For the Anchor Bay one, they did amp up the whole Hannibal pit part of it. Yeah,
they made it look like he's like a main part of the movie.
Not really. Not in Manhunter. Like I said, Manhunter, Will just uses him to get into the killer mindset.
So
and
they
do
Argyle.
get into that a little bit more. Kind of.
I hear,
and they do get in.
Is that true? Henry Cavill's only in that for 7 minutes?
That's what I've heard.
That's insane. He's front and center on the movie poster.
It feels longer though, because those are scattered throughout the movie.
Ah, okay.
It's kind of like with Beetlejuice. He's only in the first movie for a few minutes. I think it's like 12 minutes of screen time. I think something like that.
That's true, but he's so impactful.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even show up till like the first 45 minutes of the movie outside of his little first bit where he's looking at the newspaper. That's like 20 minutes in, I think.
And when he goes into the whorehouse?
No, that's way into the movie. That's like damn near the end, but why did you build that? I didn't put that there. Sure you didn't, Alec Baldwin. Anyway, DCP Titan sends in 5 Canadian, says, Exterminatus. So there I gotta say Exterminatus. It's when the Imperium of Man says, fuck it, fighting to get this planet back isn't worth it, and proceeds to blow up the planet. Oh, so it's like a last resort. Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, speaking of video games and such, well, that's Warhammer's a tabletop game or whatever, but there was this controversy this last week, Flash, that you wanted to discuss a little bit.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad game. That game is falling off a cliff.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, today on Steam, only 2,400 players. No, that was the peak for yesterday. So 2,400 players, and the Arkham Knight game has seen a 51% boost in its players. So people literally are skipping that game to go back and play the old one. This has to be a massive financial loss because they have 12 or 13 DLCs planned. You really think they're going to finish those? This game, if you compare it to similar games like Gotham Knights and the Avengers game, those games are pretty much, they actually delisted and shut down the Avengers. I don't know about Gotham Knights, but do you really think they're going to sink the time and money into this game when no one's playing it?
I hope not. Only way they would do that, I think, is if there's some kind of contractual thing to it, that it may be part of the license with DC and Warner, that in order for them to get the license, so and so many patches and this minimum lifetime.
No, I don't think there's Rocksteady is owned by Warner.
Well, then they can do whatever the hell I want, I guess. So yeah. I really couldn't say. I hope that there isn't anything. I hope that this thing is a punch in the face, and that there's 2,400 who played this thing during peak time yesterday. I mean, we should be happy that it's so few, but still, you ask me, that's 2,400 too many. I'm curious, though. This other game you said that they went to instead, like Arkham Asylum. Which platform is that on? Is this like also PlayStation?
Arkham Knight. Actually, the information came from the PlayStation players. They looked at trophies to break this down. So I would imagine that people are probably playing it across the board.
Okay, cool. I'm very glad, because what I said that people should do instead of playing this game is playing Batman, the animated series on the Super Nintendo, because there you get to play as Kevin Conroy's animated Batman. It's a fantastic game, far more entertaining than any of this. But hey, if they go back to an older, superior game that's still following my basic advice, which is play something else that's worth your time and that doesn't hate you and that doesn't hate the characters. So I'm very, very glad to see this thing fall off a cliff. It deserves it. and hopefully everyone is going to start realizing that Sweet Baby Inc. being associated with the title is not just a red flag, but a kiss of death for any game.
I'll go beyond Sweet Baby Inc. I'll say that I hope 3 people within Warner Brothers see this and it makes them take pause on a lot of things, and that being David Zaslav, James Gunn, and Peter Safran. Because I hope this reminds them of what got them here in the first place.
Well, this game has been in development for years. I don't think James
No,
Gunn
but
has
this
anything
to me,
do with...
No. What I mean is the reason why DC is the way it is right now is because of the Snyderverse crap and the Birds of Prey type crap. To me, this is more of the Birds of Prey type crap. This is
they thought Harley Quinn would carry it.
Emulants of the DCU. Like, so yes, if anything, I hope they notice this and go, okay, we cannot go down this path again or anywhere close to it, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I hope they ask Tom King his thoughts on the game, and then that allows us to get rid of him.
That's why they shot Batman in the face.
I really hope most of those people are there just so they could have a fucking picture on People magazine saying, this is your new DC crew. And literally, like, James is pretty much just running everything anyway, so.
That Supergirl movie is going to be a shit show. I hope they bring him in to like sit around.
I don't hate the casting so far, but
yeah, but it's Tom King story. Tom King is I don't know what he's got. Some, like I've said before, he's got some kind of like feminine top fetish or something. Go read his stuff. Like he's really into.
I've heard enough.
He's into being a voyeur against when his wife is with someone else, essentially. Like that's what it seems like. With
so he's like
probably got a BDSM thing going on with her. To be honest, like I think
he probably has like a cuck thing going on as well, like a humiliation thing.
We can only hope James Gunn does to Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, what he did to Peacemaker, which is make it awesome.
Yeah, exactly. That's my hope as well.
I forget the name.
Peacemaker comics, they kind of suck, and look what he did to the series.
I forget what the name of the arc was, but there was a story that Tom King wrote where he had all of the heroes go to this therapy session. It's one of the worst books I've ever read. There's pages and it's walls of text of them talking to a therapy camera. It's one of the worst books I've ever read. But in it, Harley Quinn beats Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman all in a fight.
Really?
Yeah. Not kidding.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, the Trinity defeated by Harley Quinn. She's the best. She's the bestest.
Harley has no superpowers.
She relies on the power of feminism.
She's got the power of the pussy.
Krypton.
That's right.
Red sun power, like yellow
She's
sun
got the
power
of the Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if she did use her feminine ways, she probably could be one of the more influential characters. Look at what Catwoman does. I mean, shit. But anyway, that being said, Chaos Sonic says for $2, damn it, Flash. Now Tom King will write Spider-Man. Oh, Lord.
I mean, really, Harley Quinn is an interesting character with a fantastic backstory and an ability to a good writer can, thread that line in between insanity and sanity and use it to use it to good effect. So
she was better as Joker's sidekick.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she really shined. And they took her away for that to turn her into DC's Deadpool, basically.
Didn't work.
Yeah, I don't think it works.
No. The over sexification and glorification of her parts, essentially, especially at the turn of the century, was a little too much. I think that's what betrayed the character even more so. Because it was okay to see her and Ivy as a partner getting along because they were very different people. But you always liked it when she just did that to take a break from the Joker, and then she'd go back to the tragic relationship between her and the Joker. Once they started, what you said, Flash, getting her on her own, trying to make her a hero for a short spell, throwing her on those skimpy outfits. I'm like, this doesn't feel like Harley Quinn. You're taking away the Harley Quinn aspect of Harley Quinn and turning her into a thought.
Well, yeah,
her and Poison Ivy had some good episodes in the animated series, though. Remember that one where she puts her toxins on Bruce Wayne, and her and Harley go shopping with him?
Yes, it was part of this Christmas special. That was a fun one. Yeah,
that was a great one. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like as far as Harley goes, to me, she's always basically a female Joker. The one thing that's difference between her and the Joker, at least this is going by the original version of Harley. Lord knows there's been how many different versions, and that is she's basically the Joker with a heart. I don't remember who said that the other day, but that's pretty much what she is. Like you push her to a certain point. Yes, she'll kill people. Yes, she'll do certain things. But she's kind of like, yes, she has that little bit of a conscience
that keeps slipping in and out in inappropriate times.
Yes.
And like I said, I won't kill you.
And like I said, with Batman, she almost has this weird kind of thing with him too, and depending on, again, on which version you're going by.
Yeah, that depends on what version. Yeah,
because he always has this thing where he feels like he can save her, so she knows that inside. So she has like this little thing, where she does. Like, I don't think she would ever kill him unless it was to get back at the Joker somehow. Like I said the other day, it doesn't feel like that's in her character to do. Like, if she's have the chance, I don't think she would in given the opportunity. Because not only that, I know she'd piss off the Joker too. Because that's what I'm saying. That's the only way she'd do it. Because the Joker would want to be the one, or he would just be mad because he's dead now. But anyway, I think we did get this one. Chaos Sonic 1 sent in 5 and said, YellowFlash, best to skip Deadpool 3. The person who cucks Spider-Man in the comics.
We saw that.
Yeah, I don't know if we figured out who it was, though. But
didn't that happen in the animated series where she got a one-up on Batman and Joker freed him?
Mad Love episode, yep. He's hung upside down to a pool of piranhas. And, yeah. And it was the closest Batman ever got to being defeated.
God, it was like a reversal?
Yeah, in fact, Batman had to play on Harley Quinn's love of the Joker in order to help him get by and escape, because he argued that the piranhas wouldn't leave much left of him, so she'd have to bring Joker to see it. Yeah,
and she
I never even seen that one, and that see what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Her character from the original show, like that's the version I know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos Sonic 1.
I can answer.
Go ahead, go ahead and read it if you want.
My problem with Superior Spider-Man is that everyone else are idiots not realizing the key signs. I mean, you guys know Peter for how many years now? Well, they did realize them. Like, there was one issue where the Avengers literally capture him and put him through brain, like they scan his brain and his body, like, because they're trying to figure out what was going on with him, and they come to the conclusion that it's him because, his body is still Peter Parker. They looked at his mind, but I think he somehow got out of that and tricked him. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and read.
He was a Skrull. I remember that comic. Yeah. But still, that was like the one comic also where, based on that scan, Dr. Octopus himself was able to see, oh shit, the real Peter Parker.
Oh yeah, he saw the anomaly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The memory shard.
Yeah, and basically the Avengers said that we'll be watching you, and even the Punisher was like, I kind of dig what you're doing, but watch it, because I'll be watching you extra carefully now.
Yeah, that in the team. I liked the team up book was just as fun.
The side comic, the team up one.
Yeah, I loved Superior Spider-Man team up. That was great.
Yeah, it was amazing. That was really, really cool. Even the villains one was cool. I mean,
where he had the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
He mind controlled them. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun reading that book.
The only problem with that run is that it was just way too short. They needed to carry it on for 2-3 more years. It was so much fun. I haven't had so much fun reading Spider-Man since the 80s. Or rather, since stories from the 80s.
Well, now you can read about him being jealous as Mary Jane has sex with another man.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, are we sure Tom King didn't write this?
At least that Ultimate Spider-Man book's out there. That book is, well, so far, really, really good.
Yeah.
We'll see. After the 5th issue, that's when we'll know.
I'll see how
it's going to hold its quality.
All right. Well, we got Dr. Longdongler sending us in a thumbs up for £1.99. Pound that like button if you haven't already and share out the link. Let everybody know we're live. Red Stokes stock is cheaper than a condom wants to know which one was better, Red Dragon or Manhunter. And I think Andre kind of answered that. It just depends on your taste, really, or what kind of mood you're in, I suppose.
I would say that from any kind of objective measure, if you look at the science of cinema, then Red Dragon is the better piece of cinema. But you can easily argue, if you're a fan of the books, that, did I say Red Dragon? Sorry, Manhunter is the better piece of cinema. But you can easily argue, if you are a fan of the books, that Red Dragon is the better adaptation. So if you're a fan of the books first and foremost, you're going to enjoy Red Dragon more, at least on paper.
I do like Ralph Fiennes a little bit better as Dollarhide. That's my one big complaint otherwise with Manhunter, is that you don't get to see Dollarhide or any of that storyline until the last third of the film. At least in Red Dragon, they're feeding you bits throughout of Dollarhide and the blind chick, to where it's you almost find yourself sympathizing with the Ralph Fiennes version at one point. For the other version, it just happens so quickly, you're just kind of like, okay. And I watched them like back to back this week, and that's just my recent feeling on it. And I love Tom Noonan, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like Ralph Fiennes did it better. I'm gonna say that here. Joan Allen just wasn't as good as the other chick. Watch them again, Andre, back to back, because like it almost feels like Tom Noonan's doing the practice version, and then Ralph Fiennes is actually getting into it.
Yeah,
like that's what it felt like to me at this time out.
No, because with the Tom Noonan, they went with a slightly different version than in the books.
Ray Fiennes, sorry, I said it wrong.
Yeah, but in the they did in both of them. They went with a slightly different version, but I would have hoped that in the Red Dragon they actually would have gone with an actual bodybuilder more so than Ralph Fiennes is, because he doesn't have the physical stature of Dollarhide, not at all. Dollarhide in the books is a big, strong, imposing man. Like, he's tall and he's a bodybuilder. Whereas Ralph
I'm talking about the performance, though. I'm talking about the performance. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
physically, I agree with you guys, and the chat is with you.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the overall performance.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but
Well,
but then again, you have the other side of it where, like, I agree with Boba Fett. Like, William Peterson's performance actually is better than Norton's performance. Norton just kind of felt like he was just going through the motions, and you don't really dig into him as much. But I guess Redstone wants to know about the TV show. Now, I haven't seen the show.
I have.
You have, Andre. And what do you think is the better adaptation of the three?
Well, here's the thing. The TV show, that was the one that was really subject to rights issues. So it couldn't really touch the Silence of the Lambs and any of the characters that are introduced there. I would say that the TV show, much like Manhunter before it, it's a fantastic TV show. It's really compelling. The first season is a little bit slow, but midway through the first season, it gets fantastic, and it doesn't let up.
You're talking about the Manhunter TV show.
Yeah.
The Hannibal show.
The
Manhunter on Netflix, I think. Well, where is it?
No, Hannibal. It's on.
Sorry.
On ABC.
Yeah, one of the seasons was an adaptation of Manhunter.
Yeah, almost the full first season was that, and I would say as an adaptation, you're better off with the movies, whereas it was taken in a completely different direction in the TV series, and it was gayed up tremendously, but it actually worked, and it's a really amazingly well done, compelling TV series till the very end. But it is an alternate retelling. This is not the canon Hannibal stories at all. So if you've read the books and then you want to watch the TV series, you'll be disappointed if you expect a literal adaptation. Now go in expecting an alternate take, and you've already seen the movies. So you know, okay, they're going to go a slightly different direction here, because they assume that you have seen the movies and they want to do something different. Then you're going to enjoy it for what it is.
Basically, the only one you should avoid is Hannibal Rising. Just avoid Hannibal Rising.
Stay the hell out of that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Avoid.
At all costs.
The Hannibal TV series is a better adaptation of Hannibal Rising than was Hannibal Rising.
Yeah. Redstone stock is cheaper than a condom. Also sends in another 4th South African rands and asks says Rocksteady will meet the hand of Zaslav's pink book. Yeah, well, we'll see. Hopefully he's paying a little bit of attention. I doubt video games are really on his radar that much, but this is something that I think has made enough noise that maybe it's made its way up to the upper echelon.
I certainly hope so. I hope that the loss they take there will be so big that it reverberates not just through Warner, but through the entire game industry, because they need it.
And actually, I'm glad Flash is here today for this, because normally we'd have to refer to Paul for our weeb questions. But Mario Trujillo is here and sends in 10 and says, I know off topic, but Sony ended Funimation to rebrand as Crunchyroll, which they bought from Warner Brothers. They're also deleting Funimation's digital library. Well deserved, in my opinion. Burn, baby, burn. Well, you're on the other side of this, from what most people have been very upset about this. And yeah, so Flash, what's your reaction to this Funimation rebrand and people losing their digital libraries?
It's just one last middle finger to the customer from Funimation. Funimation has a history of just milking people, so I'm glad that legacy is carrying over to Crunchyroll. Like, if they would put out 3 episodes of a show for $30 back in the day, and then they put it out again at lesser quality, and then they put out season sets that weren't even any good because of the way that they ported them over, like with these machines that didn't even watch do it. I'm sure you know all about those processing, like the remaster processing that they can cheap out on. But they've never been good to customers ever. They don't have a history of good customer service. It's like a couple of years ago when they put Akira on 4K but forgot to do the HDR. So all the discs went out with no HDR on it, and I don't even know if they replaced them all like they said they were going to be, because I signed up for the replacement, never got it. I never got my replacement disc. So, like, they have a history of just being shitty, and like one last little hurrah for them as they move over to Crunchyroll.
I can't say Crunchyroll have been saints either.
No, they used to be a pirate website.
Yep, and you know they are famous for the fact that they invested money in subtitling videos when the producers wouldn't. That's really what Crunchyroll, that's how they took off, but they didn't always do a good job.
Well,
then there's just so much stuff. The problem is with pirating anime is that there's just so much insanely good stuff that's not on Crunchyroll. Like, it's very frustrating if that's going to be your only source of anime.
Yeah, a lot of people sail the high seas for it. It's a big thing for manga and anime. And it's just going to get worse now with this subtitling stuff going on right now, with the localizers changing stuff. Like, they're actively bragging about it now and saying they're proud of it. Have you been following all that?
Yep.
Yeah,
I do think I would way prefer a semi-shoddy AI translation than what the translators are doing.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a weeber or a big anime fan, but I guess my observation from this, from the home media side of it, is lack of competition is never good. First of all. Second of all, this is, and I hate being that guy beating that drum, but this is always a good reason why you should always have some sort of physical media. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, you need the bestest of the bestest all the time. No, just as long as you have it, you're happy with it, and it's the version you want, that's all that matters. And with anime fans, I can't believe they haven't gotten more into physical media. Like, of all the
they were
franchises, yeah. Like, because
I have a lot of anime Blu-rays and DVDs, but the problem is they're fucking expensive, man. Like,
yeah,
pay a lot of money, especially when it wasn't popular here. Like,
right.
You would pay $30 for, a VHS or a DVD that only has 3 episodes, and just using Dragon Ball, like, just Dragon Ball Z is 290 episodes. So you add that up. No,
I see what you're saying there. It's a fair point.
They've always milked us and treated us like shit. It's never not been a thing in this industry over
in this day and age, unless it's an HD, like, you can cram tons of standard definition episodes on a Blu-ray disc. Like, you could fit almost like a whole 2 or 3 seasons. Well, they have for like some American stuff, like the Sonic show and stuff that they didn't upgrade to HD. They just threw it all. I think it's all on like 1 or 2 discs, like the entire show. Like,
and if they do that, they'll put like a shitty remaster process on it. Like what they did with Dragon Ball, for example, is they wanted to put it in widescreen, which was bullshit because it wasn't made for widescreen. And what they did was they would just zoom in on the middle of the fucking of the film, so the thing would be all out of focus. You know, in one scene where you could see the whole character's face talking, it would cut off. You just see their lips moving while their eyes are cut off. Like, there was no supervision on it. They just ran it through the machine and then put it out for consumers. And the problem is the thing made so much fucking money, they just keep doing it for stuff now. Like, that made a lot of money. People just went out and bought it and didn't look into it. And it set a standard. Hey, we can just rip these people off with a subpar product and charge them up the ass for it.
I wish that was something I could say that was delegated only to anime, but no. As you know very well, like there's a lot of movies and shows that get treated like crap. If they're not cropping them off or sending them through some weird remastering process, exactly that. But
I bet you. Let me see. I'll pull that up and I'll show you. Hold on.
Oh, I believe you. But while you're doing that, Chaos Sonic 1 also says on the Suicide Squad bit, he goes, there's also the Suicide Squad in Arkhamverse movie. It's called Batman Assault on Arkham. It's canon, which is what Sushi Squad should have been. I kind of vaguely remember that one, but I don't know if I ever watched it. That was an animated one. Then the Garth Knight returns. Uber B-Man says, Sweet Baby Inc. has to be tied to funding, like they are required to use them a certain % to get a development loan. So this is like basically DEI in the gaming world.
That actually is not that's not wholly impossible, because they would be a DEI approved company, and working with them would score the necessary brownie points that the people issuing credit lines do like to see associated with any given project. However, I think a bigger deal here may be the ideology of the people developing this. When you have filled a company with activists, activists are going to hire each other. If they didn't want to use them, they didn't have to use them. So, because that's like the thing, it's not illegal to put out anything that isn't DEI approved. There's no laws against it. So if there's a will, there's a way to do it. Problem is, if there's no will, or rather, if the will is to go as activist as possible, that's what Sweet Baby Inc. is for. It appeals to companies where they need to use certain things to get their ESG scores and everything in order, but also for the ones that really just want to appease the activists and think that this is going to win over the audience. They're going to do it too, regardless of anything else.
Jacob Foxfires 964 sends in 10 and says, I think with Harley, she's supposed to be the victim of the Joker. Yes. To show how deprived and corruptive his madness is, and plays to Batman's strength that he wants to do is save people like Harley. Yeah, absolutely. At least that's kind of I think you kind of hit it.
And she wasn't doused in the same chemicals as Joker, because that's a cop-out.
Yeah.
So there's the season set. You see how it cuts his mouth off because of that zooming in that they do.
Oh, and yeah, they cropped it off, yeah.
His Gohan, which the character on the right, his mouth is erased because the system that they put it in erased some of the art.
Yeah,
so
that's
you would have
the same thing
a lot
that happens, yeah.
You'd have a lot of the art erased from characters, like things would be missing from them and stuff. Like this is what they do, and it's
not something that's exclusive to anime, right?
I know, but it's just this made a lot of us very mad.
We've had some famous Disney films that have had lines erased like this, and this is why, thankfully for the 4K masters, they're actually going back and fixing some of the issues on the Disney front. But that's just a rarity for them too, because otherwise, normally, this is the kind of crap you get from almost every studio anymore, unless they actually take the care and the time, which is very rare anymore.
Hate it.
We like Andre and I get so giddy when we get stuff like the Conan set recently, which is actually the way it's supposed to look and stuff.
DNR.
Like that.
Samurai Vader got it. DNR. That's what it is. DNR.
Digital noise reduction. Yep.
Huge
well, there's
problem.
that, and there's a neat program too, which also helps reduce and even out the grain, which also can cause issues. And you're right. What they do
put
is they
fake
just
grain in it.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that.
The stuff, that DNR stuff, when you use it on, like, remember the Star Trek Blu-rays when they came out? The character, like, they're all waxy looking. Now the new ones don't have that, but they when you use this in a movie like Predator is a good example. Like, everybody looks like they're a wax mannequin.
Yeah, and you know what? My Star Trek reissue DVDs, just the first set in the red, yellow, and blue boxes, absolutely stunning. I wouldn't. I mean, everything else they've produced after that to try to duplicate them has been garbage.
Yeah, but YellowFlash is talking about the very first Blu-ray release of the 6 original movies.
Not the TV show.
No.
No, the TV show actually looks really amazing on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Actually,
I've got that Blu-ray set too.
Yeah, about the movies is what you're talking about. The
Yeah.
first movies, and that initial release of that was absolute dog shit. They didn't even put out the director's cuts of anything because they didn't have the source material in HD. So they just put out the theatrical cut and made it look worse than ever. So yeah, that first Blu-ray release of the original was a incredible downgrade. But let's move on here.
yeah, indeed. Let's see here. I want to kind of get ones that are related to like anime and whatnot first and get them out of the way. Chaos Sonic 1 sends in 5 before we get into the other stuff. I mean, modern media brought me back to an old friend, Takasutsu, like Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, and Ultraman. Kamen Rider game you guys will enjoy. Well, there you go for all you weebs out there. And then we've got Samurai Vader, who sends in 2 and says, want good physical anime? Check out Discotheque Media. There you go. Good recommendation on a place to get the discs. And I had one here I wanted to grab. Here it is. DCB Titan says, with 2 Canadian, West anime industry is why I'm looking at 22 terabyte hard drives. Well, that's another way you could deal with that. That's true. Not that we condone piracy, but if you do, use Surfshark.
That's a crazy amount of storage.
You would have to,
a lot.
like, what, airdrop everything to your TV to watch it on TV?
You created an internal media server. I did that. I've got
I have
3 14
Andre
terabyte
has it too.
hard
Yeah.
drives. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I'm
like
thinking
putting
of
a
doing
disc
that
in.
for my TV shows, not so much for my movies, but because I'm just so sick and tired of trying to keep track of where I'm at. Like with Star
I
Trek,
like just
for
being
instance.
a dinosaur when it comes to this stuff and putting a disc in a player.
I do too.
I have a 74 terabyte NAS. So
Yeah, there you go. See, that's how you do it.
My whole thing is just with TV. Like, it's too many episodes to deal with.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, it takes me a while to get through them. You know, I'm still.
I know, but
watching
like, I'll
Vengeance.
step away for a while, and then I'm like, was I on disc 3 or disc 4? And was I on episode 6?
Oh,
or
I
was I on
got you.
episode
Yeah,
7? You know,
that
like,
can be that can be a problem.
and then I spend more time trying to figure out where I was than just watching the show.
I'm gonna have that problem though because I borrowed a One Piece couple of season sets, and I'm almost done with all that my friend had, so I'm gonna have to move to digital versions.
That is one of the nice things about streaming is that it holds your place because it knows
Right.
where you stopped it and which episode you're on. Not so
from what
much
I
with
was-
discs.
Yeah, and from my understanding, what Andre is telling me, that the system you use does that for you, right, Andre?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's basically like having your own streaming service in your own home.
Correct. It's like you have your own Netflix with your own library.
Tomac sends in $20. How you doing, Tomac? And thank you so much for the 20. Flash, I saw the Stellar Blade hit number 2 in top pre-orders. We might not need to care about the journalist reviews. Well, reviews
I can't
on
wait
certain
for that.
things don't really matter at the end. I remember when reviews didn't
Good
really
content
matter
for
at
me.
all.
Good content for me, especially when they complain about her butt.
Oh, that's that one? Okay, yeah. That's all you had to say. It's the one with the oh, yeah, okay.
that's why you keep the original Mass Effects. Just you can get keep all the butt shots.
Which they changed in the.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
no
so
more
stupid.
low angle butt shots of the girls in tight leather outfits.
The good news is if you're playing that on PC, is I guess the modders corrected that.
Of course they did.
Well, I'm not giving up my original PlayStation version.
There you go. Space Monkey 899 sends in $1.99. and says Gunsmith Cats cost me $150, only 3 episodes. Damn, my friend. Yeah, I can empathize with that, guys. I totally understand that can be an issue to try and. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I totally get it. Waltman says he apologizes though for $4.99. Says I'm having to juggle between this and reactions to a single interview. Well, you'll have that, or you could just wait to watch one or the other. That always happens too. Do that. This is a bit of news here. I don't know if you guys caught this morning because we actually talked about it last night, which is weird. Because I thought I'd heard that it did get rejected everywhere, but I guess I was right. Twitter is mad about Zaslav because nobody wanted to pay for what he wanted for Coyote versus Acme. And here's the thing: he didn't want all that much for it. They only wanted like $80 million.
And that apparently is more than anyone wanted to spend. Because let's just set this up for those that aren't aware, because we don't instantly catch up. Because this is in reference to the movie Coyote Vs Acme, which is a live-action Looney Tunes movie with John Cena and stuff like that. He was going to get a full theatrical release from Warner until someone decided, you know what, let's just scrap this entire thing and get the tax incentive. And everyone was horrified. A fan screening of it, not a fan screening, but like a cast and crew screening was planned for it anyway. People saw it there at that screening of friends and family of those making it. They absolutely loved it. So then you had like this movement in social media wanting to save the movie. And then what they did at Warner was that they decided, okay, you know what? Instead of just scrapping it, we'll put it out on the open market. And if someone is willing to buy the price that we'll buy it for the price that we want, a price that is somewhere between 75 to 80 million, they can have it. But as it transpired, they were not interested in any kind of bargaining, counter offers, or anything like that. 75 to 80 million, it's yours. If not, we're not having it. And now it's been a few weeks of this, and apparently no one is willing to buy the movie for 75 to 80 million dollars. And if no one does in the next few days here, that means the movie is going to get scrapped. It will never be seen, and Warner will instead take a $40 million tax credit on it. Script, is that about a decent summary, or did I miss something?
No, I think you nailed it there. I mean, it's a minimum of $40 million. That's the other part. Who knows how else they can maneuver that? But yeah, I mean, it's sad to hear because I was hoping one of these studios would probably pick it up. I think 75 to 80 million for pretty much 99% of the rights of that film, with whatever ancillary payments go to Warner Brothers because they actually made it, is a pretty good deal, especially if it's based on the stuff that was leaked by the people that worked on it. It looked really promising. So it's
Did you ever read the script or no?
Yeah, like no, I haven't read the script yet. I wish I could. I'm looking for it.
Because that's what I'm curious about. Is that, not to interrupt, but I'm wondering if the movie just isn't as good as we were hoping, and that's why they didn't offer as much.
That's what
I think the idea is funny.
Did the stuff that we see in those released stuff, is that the best parts of the movie? Because if that's the case, I completely understand the other side of the studio saying like, no, we're not gonna pursue this. The question being is like, well, is Apple still on the table? Because I remember they were looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear about Apple.
Yeah, what has happened since is that those who were interested and who had the money to buy it, like Netflix, Amazon, and Paramount, they all got to see it.
Mm-hmm.
The decision makers, they went to Warner and they got a private screening of the movie, so they have seen it. And after they saw it, they decided we're not going to spend 75 to 80 million on this. And keep in mind, when Warner just wants to bury it rather than release it in the first place, that means that they think they're not going to make their money back on this. They think this is going to be an expensive flop. And given that neither Netflix, Amazon, or Paramount, which could have gotten a movie completely done that they could just drop in the next few weeks here, they all rejected it after having seen it. That tells me
that's not a good sign.
That's exactly. And Trabert Grano says in the chat here, for those that are only listening, it looks like even Apple rejected the movie. And if that's the case, it means it's done. We'll never be seeing it.
And Apple, was it Amazon or Apple who did Argyle.
Oh, is Apple? Apple has money to burn. That's the thing.
Yeah,
right?
we found out they paid $200 million for Argyle, which is $100 million over cost.
Yeah.
So like that tells me that that's the thing. And I'm thinking about the premise this morning because it was really funny because we were just talking about this last night, and I thought I remembered one of my insiders saying that nobody was interested or they rejected the offers or something along those lines. Because I remember saying that last night, and
yeah,
you impressed me a little bit, and I'm like, I can't remember exactly who told me, but now I do remember. I went back and looked. And yeah, just basically
we hadn't heard anything. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then like Six asked about it, and I think that's what happened is other people started asking about it again because I think this actually happened a few weeks ago and it just quietly went away. But I wonder because I was thinking about this premise. I'm like, yeah, it's a funny premise, but I wonder if it's a lot like Sausage Party where the premise is only going to last so long. It maybe would have been best as like a 5 to 10 minute short, like one of their like one of their little short, you know, and like the old Looney Tunes cartoons basically, but a live action mixed with because they've done that before in the old Looney Tunes cartoons too, where they had the one episode where Daffy convinced Porky to quit his job and stuff like that at Warner Brothers and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not like it's unprecedented for them to do that. But yeah, if I was them, if they're able to cut it down to like a 7 to 10 minute little thing and put it in front of some other movie, that's what I would have done.
Oh, like breaking up into vignettes and then just pepper it through other Warner Brothers features that are being released throughout the year, sort of thing. Yeah,
maybe like his little 7 minute, you know, like the little old Looney Tunes bits. But yeah,
or like the Roger Rabbit shorts.
Well, my whole point is I don't know if the idea can retain a 90-minute movie script. That's what I'm getting to, right? Like, yeah. I mean,
what's the other angle as aside to just Wile E. Coyote suing the Roadrunner or suing Acme in this case, right? Like how much repeated of the same evidence are you going to be able to get away with before the joke runs flat?
And that's why I brought up Sausage Party, because like I said, with Sausage Party, that was the problem is once you've seen the trailer, the movie's not funny because the joke is gone. Because the whole joke is you're watching a kid's movie, but all of a sudden the cartoon character starts swearing, right? Well, after 10, 15 minutes, that's going to get real thin. And it's exactly what happened to me in that movie. I shut it off because I'm like, yeah, this is just...
Up until the very end, which got so unremittingly obscene that I was dying from laughter.
And that's true. That may be true, Paul, but I didn't get that far because the joke wore thin after about 10 minutes.
I'm totally,
you know, it's like I can only sit there and watch cartoons swear for so long without any context, right? It just, that's it. That's all you got. And then I've heard about the big orgy at the end. So I mean, I know what you're
it was such an intense moment that I could not believe it. It was scorched earth filth. And I was howling with laughter.
But yeah, I wonder if that's
a long time to get there.
I wonder if that's the case, though, if it's just not something that can sustain a 90-minute film.
Probably that's the case. Because if it could, others would have picked it up. But no one has.
Yeah, it didn't live up to the hype.
People with money have seen it. They didn't like it, and that means that we'll never be seeing it.
Well, I mean, truth be told, when the Warner execs heard Christopher Cross's demo tape, they all thought it sucked and just didn't match the milieu they were in, which included the Cars and Deborah Harry. And then they just gave it to some producer, and it became a monster hit. So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. We're dealing with the heads of studios, which some of them have put out some of the worst content we have seen in the last few years.
That's correct.
This is a point.
This is a good point.
We will never find out because we won't be seeing this.
The same executives didn't think Sailing should be the single off the Christopher Cross album.
Once in your life you find him, Paul. Sometimes he'll turn your heart around. At least Paul got it.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, no, it's sad to hear about Coyote. I was kind of looking forward to it, but to me, that's got to be bad if Warner Brothers isn't even willing to just drop it on HBO Max, right? Like that's the thing. It's like, what is wrong with this movie that nobody really is willing to offer even that pittance of an amount for that movie? That's really nothing.
It's better as a tax write-off. That's extraordinary.
That's what I mean.
Painful.
I know, but I feel sorry for all the people who put all that effort into the movie, but you know.
Well, that's what I don't understand about the fact that if they're willing to take a $35 to $40 or $1 million tax write-off, but they're insisting that somebody has to pay 75 to 80 million. What if somebody offered 60 million for it?
Oh, and that's
why
what
is that not enough?
I understand that. I understand that completely. Because at that tax credit, they do not get their full spending reimbursed. They get like maybe 40 or 50 million back, which is more than they think they're going to get back by actually releasing it. But if they're going to sell it to a competitor, so a competitor gets a movie that they sunk maybe, I don't know, 80 to, let's just say that they sunk 60 million into making it, and that's why they want 80 million, because at 80 million they actually profit on it a little bit, not much, but a little bit. And from what I understand, at that level they don't actually lose any money. And this is like the thing, if you take it to a tax credit, that's kind of like a last resort. You can't make money of this, so this is the natural option. But then why would you take a movie that you spent so much money that's going to take that you need 80 million to profit of it, and then you sell it to someone else for 60 million, which means that now they need to make less money on it than you did for it to be successful for them. And if they're able to turn it around and make a hit on it, they're going to make you look like fools. You look like an idiot because you took a loss at their expense. This is exactly what happened with The Sound of Freedom. That was a movie that was made and paid for by Disney, and then it was sold. We do not know exactly what it was sold for. But let's put it this way: that the ones that sold it to, Angel, they profited massively off of that movie, whereas Disney only ever lost on it.
Well,
because
technically,
they sold a movie with a loss.
well, technically, it was part of the Fox buyout, so it was kind of a null game there.
Yeah, true, but still, it was a loss that they had underwritten.
Right. Correct. And don't forget though, forwarding a tax loss is like cash later on if you're profitable. It's literally cash.
So
the
anyway,
other thing to account for is that those studios, whatever studio would end up buying Coyote versus Acme, would also have to invest a little bit in marketing for people to be aware to find it on their streaming service. So the price tag isn't just the 75 to 80; it's whatever additional tens of millions of dollars on top of that.
Probably closer to 120.
Yeah, which Warner Brothers would have had to incur to promote it also.
Correct.
That's very true.
But if they were to sell it for 60 million, for instance, that means that Warner would still take a $20 million loss on it. They would take a loss on a movie that someone else finishes up and releases. They'd be better off than not seeing it released at all and taking a $40 million tax credit. Because that way, at least they're not going to be humiliated by someone else, potentially turning around and releasing their movie and making a profit of it when they lost by selling it at too low a price. That is why they're not going to sell it until they profit on it, because then whatever happens later, at least they got paid. They didn't lose anything. Otherwise, if they were to sell it, for instance, for 60 million and someone else profits, now you're going to have to explain it to shareholders. Why the hell did you not sell this at the very least at break-even cost? And that's what they're doing.
Well, and here's the other thing again that takes me back around to what's wrong with this movie, because you had a lot of hype around it, right? So that you can't buy that kind of hype.
Can I say one thing about that hype, though? That hype comes exclusively from, you can't watch this.
I get that.
That's the source of the hype. So
can you imagine, though?
It has pretty free marketing, but how long is that hype going to last? Anyone remember Snakes on a Plane?
Oh boy.
No, totally fair. But here's the thing is and this is what we brought up last night, real quick, is that's what I said last night was like the time to buy this and advertise the hype that you bought this was at the time that this all went down, and it's already gone away.
Yeah.
So that's where,
exactly. And that's what they're going to know too, that by the time, say that they buy this tomorrow, they can have it out in like maybe 3 months or something, and that's too late. The interest will have disappeared by then.
Yeah, because we have no idea how done the movie is either.
Yeah.
I've heard various reports on that. I've heard everything from pretty much done to the animation isn't complete. Like 60 to 70% done.
Yeah, at that point, this movie ain't going to get released ever.
They may need the extra money just to get the movie finished.
Yeah.
But on that note, we got a couple more super chats here, and I want to get into some Disney news. We got Nova Omega on that point, sending in £5. Says
Nova
Disney
Omega.
Marvel characters are sanitized to simplified traits. Usually they pick at least controversial.
The least. Usually they pick the least controversial.
Well, maybe they used to. Nowadays they make them suck dicks.
Controversial in a different perspective. You need to satisfy the 6% of the population.
Right? I was going to say, you got Superman getting raped in prison. I mean...
And Paul, that actually happened before.
It is.
Thomas making a joke. He's not joking.
Yeah, no, I just bring that up just to remind people all the time because I'll never let them forget that. But yeah, no, Marvel is the MCU now, full on. Like, I mean, and the hilarity of it was in Bob Iger. We'll talk a little bit about that now. This is probably a good place to break into it. We had the earnings call the other day, and if you notice, he didn't really have a lot of good things to say. He did try to spin it as best as he could. Now on the Marvel front, he did mention that he acknowledged that there's been a problem in a way, sort of, kind of, basically by saying that they're going to try to get them back to the characters that people love, and they're going to do more sequels. At least that's the way I gathered it, Andre. Well, you were there with me.
That's kind of what he said. Yes, he did say that. But what he did not say, what I noticed is that he talked about the restructuring that they did, but I do not recall him using the frame that, or the sentence that he has used previously, which is them restoring creativity to the corner of their business, or to the center of their business, or whatever it was. Because now we have seen that Disney's creatives are completely compromised. That's where the magic goes to die. And nothing they can do really works, because whenever the Disney magic is dead. Because restoring the creativity of the creatives currently working at Disney, the ones which have been quoted into the company, whereas the good people, well, there were just too many. They were too white, so they all had to go, because male and pale is stale, don't you know? So that didn't really work out. And now they're going to bring back all these legacy characters that audiences care about. But he didn't say anything about them cutting out all of their DEI programs and stuff like that. So if those movies with legacy characters are still made by those crews, using those scripts, those screenwriters and everything else, it's not going to help. It's not going to help any more than Doctor Strange, a guest character in his own movie. Okay, fine. So you bring that back Iron Man and you have him guest star in his own movie, while some chick that they put in it who is also gay and a woman of color and probably a communist or something like that is center stage. It's not really going to change anything. So there was nothing really impressive in what he said there. And when he talked about the upcoming slate for 2024, 25 and beyond, it was embarrassing. And the only thing that he could promise, we're going to go back to classic characters. Okay, what movies? What dates? You don't have any, because that's just vaporware, empty promises to the horizon.
Yeah, well, the other thing he's talking to two audiences. One, he's talking to an external audience that expects that kind of language, and internally, the people don't really care what he's saying.
Yeah, and on that note, we also have this one from Pandemona, sorry, a one, who sends in, this is Chilean pesos, if I remember correctly, 2,500 of them, says, why they persist on DEI and woke agenda. It has proven again and again already that produce huge losses. Money speaks at the end, supposedly. Well, we've discussed this quite a bit.
From BlackRock and other places, and I don't think they really put much pressure on them to pay it back either.
That's actually not how it works.
I was gonna say, actually, Andre, you've done a couple videos on this that we can recommend. But the real quick, the basics, if you will.
The basics is that they don't get any bonus money that they weren't getting already for doing that. It's that their existing lines of funding, just to get the money that they already had and already relied on, is now increasingly being linked to ESG and DEI goals. And in entertainment, the DEI goals are basically what Elon Musk has made more people see, even though the documents were already out there, which is basically quota system, which refers to what happens on screen, behind the camera, and also the casting, and even the caterers. Even the caterers can't be too white. Oh yeah, for sure. Like even this was in Amazon's papers. Even the caterers that they use, they can't hire a company that doesn't apply their own DEI standards. Which means that if a company is 2/3 white, oh sorry, we can't use you now. But they don't do it because they think there's any money in it. That's not the grift. Many people think that, oh, you get extra money if you do this. No, this is the force. It is all of the money that you are used to getting, that you need to plug the deficits that you temporarily have in your spreadsheets and everything like that. You don't get this money unless you do it. So basically, it's mafia tactics from the big banking institutions. They're the ones forcing this on the company. But of course, then when you fill the company with activists who want to do it because they're true believers in the ideology, then it becomes its own thing. And that, of course, brings us this. Tom, go back to this paper here. Let's bring that up right now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were ready to get to that or not yet.
Yeah, let's do that right now.
This actually is perfect, bouncing off this morning where we were asking the other day, will this new leader of the all-female, women powerful Pirates of the Caribbean will also be bi or lesbian? And I think we got the answer this morning, right, Andre?
Yeah, we did. This is something because I joked on Wednesday stream, I think it was, when I said if she's black, I like it was Paul that said we don't know that she's gay, and I said no, I bet you she's gay. And now we have the confirmation. This is something that I believe it was Matt Walsh put on Twitter. I think I have it in behind the scenes here as well, where he basically confirms that the new lead in the Pirates, or the alleged new lead in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, she is black, but she's not just black, because that's not enough. She's also a they/them. She's non-binary, and she's a radical communist, and she hates capitalism. So she's a perfect fit then for.
So
for
she
all
shouldn't
of their
take a paycheck
here.
at all.
Oh no! But all commies are fake commies.
Oh, okay,
they want
yes,
others not to take paycheck and give it to them, or they'll take paychecks.
We know the history of communists. My one of the jokes when we went to Hungary in '72 was the rule was that the regular population can only buy cars made by manufacturers from behind the Iron Curtain, except all the political apparatchiks had Mercedes.
We have the same thing in Norway. In Norway, you have a party that is literally called SV. That's short for the Socialist Left. And I've seen, because of being in the world of banking and stuff, I've seen those people in private and street and stuff.
Oh,
and they are dressed head to toe. These self-appointed communists that tell you that you can save yourself. Oh, they dressed head to toe in Dolce and Gabbana and the most expensive haute couture fashion you can find. I mean, there's no bigger discrepancy between how they say that you should live and how they live than fucking commies. A group I've learned to dislike.
I mean, no, prevalent they were during pirate times too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like most of the self-appointed commies are fake commies.
I wish pirates worked on the merit system, like how many people they killed in any sortie. See, if this is the problem. I wonder whether she's going to be working on the pirate merit system. And I also hear that this is not a continuation. She's not replacing Jack Sparrow. This is kind of a side mission.
Oh yeah, but she's replacing him for that, and they want Johnny Depp to step in as a by character or like a supporting character, so they can put him in the posters and do a
humiliate
bait and
him
switch
the
with him.
entire movie.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas she's the real lead in it, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But getting into this thing right here, because this is a side piece that goes with this document that Elon Musk made famous, because that basically just describes all of the quotas, right? That you are expected to have this and that many people of every group. And then this sheet right here, this is the interpretation to that sheet of paper. It begins then with frequently asked questions on the first couple of pages there, where it goes through what you are going to learn in the document. And after you go through, Jesus, more than 25 questions, like 25 questions, basically, yeah, here you have all of these questions, and this because this is basically setting you up for a struggle session. So here you have
go. Make it bigger.
Like, why am I being asked to complete this form? Basically declaring your race and gender and everything like that. And what's the purpose of the talent database, and why do I have to do all this, and how do we do this? And so basically, this is basically
it also tries to cut off a lot of questions like people like us would ask.
Yes, it does. And we'll get into how they do it, because then we get into the question itself. And this is gaslighting personified. This is the legal document that they have to put out. And this is the kind of thing that's going to give you a whiplash. Because as many have pointed out, Chato included, it is illegal to quota people into jobs in the United States of America. But with these inclusion standards, that is exactly what they are doing. And so what this document here, this is them putting on paper that no, you are not supposed to put any quotas. You are not supposed to hire someone less qualified, even if they have like the right skin color or right gender orientation. You're not supposed to do that. And then in the very next sentence, they turn around and basically say, well, now that we have said that because we have to, yes, you are totally supposed to do that. So this is
it gets more batshit crazy as you go along.
It's completely insane. Like, for instance, here they say, what do we mean by inclusive hiring and employment practices? Which they specify that it refers to practices that are intended to cast the widest net possible when it comes to attracting, considering, evaluating, and retaining talent for jobs. And then they list a bunch of examples, and then later they specify, but you are not supposed to use any kind of quotas. You are not going to lose your job if you're white. And we say this because we have to. And then later they say, but we totally do use quotas without between the lines. And if you are a white person and there's someone else equally talented to you, you're shit out of luck. They pretty much say that in this paper here.
Well, here's where the gaslighting starts right away. So you got, do the inclusion standards require or encourage productions to reserve a certain number of open positions for underrepresented groups? No. The inclusion standards are about reinforcing inclusive practices. Well, what's the fucking difference?
Yeah, and later you get to basically this is how they use legalese to cover their own backs. Because first they say, no, you don't do any of that. You just do these practices. And those practices, they of course result in there being quotas. But we're not going to put that in explicit writing. So this is like a whiplash kind of thing, because it says both things all at once. It's a most pathetic legal document I have read in my entire life, because the summary of this document is, we at Disney, we use quotas. But we can't say we use quotas because that's against the law.
Yet they actually do right here. Because it says this means that productions will meet inclusion standards by engaging in the inclusive hiring and employment practices described above.
Yeah, exactly. But there, you have the same sentence. No, we don't do that, but we do this, which is exactly the same thing.
Exactly. The inclusion standards do not require, encourage, or permit the use of quota systems or the making of employment decisions based on someone's race, gender, or demographic identities. But that's what you're doing.
Except that goes completely opposite to what they said at the very beginning of the document here.
And then they're like, are we going to search out candidates for a required job that only identify with a specific group? No. Okay, they're including all of them, according to them, except for white people. I mean, this is like this is like an EFAP type thing. This goes on and on and on. I'm trying to remember if there was some really good ones. Okay, here's a good one. What about the instances when characters is written as a member of a specific demographic group? Aren't productions allowed to consider someone's demographic information if necessary for authenticity? Casting decisions should continue to focus on the actor's ability to portray the character rather than the actor's demographics. Even when a character is written as a member of a specific demographic group, as one example, if an actor who is 22 years old submits for a character who is written as 17 years old, we would consider the actor's ability to portray a 17-year-old rather than whether the actor is 17 years old. But that's not what you're doing.
And also note that they did not refer to race or to gender in that specific example. They only refer to age to bypass that particular question.
Well, it's an easier one to do because you don't have to worry about school and child labor laws when you're dealing with an actor under the age over the age of 18.
Yeah.
So that's normal standard practice. Like Timothy Chalamet has been playing a teenager for 10 years almost.
Notice the gaslighting comes in by using that as an example instead of somebody who happens to be white in a historical document or docufilm or whatever. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to circumvent here, right? They're trying to distract you with, well, if a 22-year-old can play a 17-year-old, well, clearly we'll use the 22-year-old, right? It's like, yeah, but that's not really what we're getting at here. We're talking about, the actual demographic.
The next one, let's get to it. If productions cannot base their employment decisions on someone's demographic identity, then how can they basically stick by the standards? And disappeared from the page there. But again,
I was trying to figure out. I got them in an out of whack order here. Let me see which one.
All right, yeah.
Okay, we got 3. Because then it ends. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's the one I think we were on. Or no, where were we?
No, that's not the one.
Because I had to download them because you can't zoom in on them on Twitter. That's 3 of 9. We already went this one.
Yeah, the page count was confusing on that one. It was under point number 6.
We need 7 of 9. Just kidding. That was.
Oh, we always need 7 of 9.
Is this the one you were looking for?
Yeah, no, I got it right here. I found it. The number 6. Let's see if
modern.
Yes,
7 of 9
yes, that's the one. Yeah. If productions cannot base their employment decisions on someone's demographic identity, how can they meet the inclusion standards? You see, they even realize just how self-contradictory this document is. The inclusion standards can be met through inclusive hiring and employment practices that address underlying systematic barriers to equal employment opportunities. In other words, quotas. More tips and resources for inclusive hiring practices, along with Disney's general entertainment Crusade, can be found at blah, 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 blah. So basically, they're saying, no, we don't do quotas, but we're going to use quotas to reach our goals. That's the gist of this document. It is one of the most gaslighting documents I have ever read in my entire life.
And the other document, too, the one thing that they don't talk about is, what does underrepresentation mean? Is it a percentage of the population? Is it the percentage of the United States? Is it the percentage of Jakarta, wherever the production is being shown? This is the issue. And, as far as underrepresentation is concerned, you've also got the issue of, the fact that Hollywood is made up of beautiful people. So they are not representative of the American population in general anyway. Even if even if they find a black actress, she's more beautiful. Now I'm being a shit here, but they're beautiful people, which are not representative. So it's filled with just
and here's
nonsense.
More word salad here. Even if producers are not required to hire a certain number of individuals from underrepresented groups, would my status as an individual who doesn't identify as a part of an underrepresented group hurt me? if pickup decisions are based on diversity of the production. See, they're even admitting it in the question. But anyway, no, the fact that the particular individual on the show is not from an underrepresented group that will not be viewed as a negative for the production. In addition, context is critical when evaluating whether a group is underrepresented, and will depend on the composition of different groups and identities on a particular production. So this goes into what you were just saying, Paul.
Lie, because they said to begin with that 50% of the has to be like non-white and non-male, and that means that there's a cap on white male actors there. So if you don't belong to an underrepresented group, that absolutely will hamper your opportunities to be part of it.
So how does that work in the United States, where 60% of the population is white? Then you've got 40% that has to be divided up between Black, Latino, Asian, whatever is remaining. And do those groups have to stay in their lane of representational percentage? And then they also don't talk about competent people. I think competent people are underrepresented.
This is basically telling all those people, Paul, that this is why you're not going to get hired.
Correct.
Even though that's basically what this is. It's just, anyway, it goes on to say, therefore, there is no single definition as to who is considered an unrepresented group member for the inclusion standards. See?
Yeah, that's what they get out of it.
When making pickup decisions, DGE takes into account not only the progress that the production has made, but the specific actions that the production has taken to meet the inclusion standards. Okay. If a production has engaged in inclusive hiring and employment practices, but still did not meet the inclusion standards, DGE will partner with that production to identify what areas of opportunity exist to improve upon its practices. AKA, it will come in and tell you to fire Whitey and hire someone else.
So the problem with this entire thing is that it should be treated more like the automobile industry when it comes to aggregated pollution and mileage, where the car industry deals with all the cars that they are producing, and they've got to meet a target with their total car sales, which allows them to have a gas guzzling pony car along with some kind of hybrid or electric car, and as long as they sell in enough numbers, then they're able to meet their overall targets. And that's the way Hollywood really should do it, in the sense that, I mean, I joked in my video that I did today, where what happened to the underrepresented Icelandic people, and also that movie that the Dutch guy did that made fun of the reporter who talked about, why isn't there more diversity in your 1400 era movie about the Finns revolting. What's the guy? Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen, yeah.
Yeah, so he made fun of the reporter when he asked that stupid question about diversity in this historically accurate film, right? Yeah. So the thing is, the studio puts out this film with a bunch of white Finnish people, but then they've got to match it up with another film like, Wakanda, right? That in many ways, that's a better way to do it than trying to make every single movie inclusive, which just makes them so fucking boring because they become, ironically, very homogeneous.
Yeah, well, you're a homogeneous.
I am. That's correct. I'm wearing silk panties as I speak.
Well, we knew that. Unfortunately, though, Flash does have to leave us. Daddy calls.
Yeah, I gotta get to something. But thanks for having me, and hopefully I can come on again next week at some time, and
sure,
we'll do it again.
Just let me know when you're not busy, and
nice
of course I'll see you Saturday night
for sure.
And we look forward to your upcoming videos. In the meantime, everyone check out YellowFlash if you haven't done it already. All amazing daily news updates.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Yellow.
See ya.
Take care.
Take care.
So here's where it gets really juicy here.
Yeah, this is a good one. Next two are really cool.
So this is where they come up with the excuses as to why you're not going to get a job. I've been told that I'm not going to be hired on a show, even though I have worked with the showrunner many times in the past and have always done a great job. I love how they're so specific in these questions too. Instead, the show hired an individual from an underrepresented group. But I thought they didn't know the definition of what an underrepresented group was. Anyway, doesn't this demonstrate what I was not hired because I am not from an underrepresented group? Their excuses are productions do not make hiring or employment decisions based on demographic identities. They have to say that legally, of course.
Yeah.
They will continue to hire individual who is the most qualified for the position, but yet they don't. Exactly. With that said, the inclusion standards reinforce inclusion as a best practice in hiring. Hiring individuals based solely on existing relationships is not considered inclusive hiring. So productions are encouraged to consider job candidates who do not have prior experience with the production showrunner, creative leadership team, or the DGE. I love how they hide white with person you've worked with before.
Well, what's really funny is that the question specifically says, I lost the job to an underrepresented person. It says that in the question.
Exactly.
I believe, right?
Yeah.
I lost it, not it looks like I'm going to, or will I lose it? It didn't ask the question, will I lose it? It said I lost it. So then this answer is specious.
Exactly. Yeah.
I used the word specious. So.
And it turned me on.
That's right. I am not specious.
You like all species.
I do.
And then number 9, am I going to be out of a job next season? Now here goes what you were just saying. Because I am not a member of an underrepresented group. It says our productions will continue to make decisions around who to bring back based on a number of different factors such as quality of work, expertise, experience, skill set, and needs for the role.
But they don't say what the weighting is. That's how they get away with that particular sentence, where they go, well, you know what? We've now weighted underrepresentative as much higher. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
No. Sorry. I mean, I'm just pretending that I'm Disney saying, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm being in character.
Gotcha. But yeah, then it goes from here to like, can we share our info with third-party content providers and all this kind of stuff? I'm trying to remember if there was anything else.
So this just adds to one of the key points that I made, is that back in the day when I was making stuff, I was not preoccupied with this. Yes, even in the 90s, we knew that colorblind casting was a fine method when you're doing a police procedural show. Like, who cares, right? It doesn't matter. It's not like Blue Bloods where, you've got an entire family of white people, but you've got, one black dude because he was adopted, just to have a black guy in the, in the show. But it makes so much sense on a bunch of shows. You're doing a show about a school. A school is going to have a wide variety of people in real life. It's when you get to, historical dramas and if you're going to do Shogun, then you're going to have the one white dude and everyone else is going to be Japanese. I mean, you're just not going to be able to get away with doing Shogun unless that's the way it is. So this would completely go. So essentially Disney would never do Shogun.
Yet they are.
Well, that's my joke.
Yeah.
So how do they get away with that? But the point I was trying to make is we were conscious of colorblind casting, but it didn't consume our lives. All this bullshit, the document that Elon Musk revealed, and this, it's just going to make everybody thinking about nothing but this and not the work that they're supposed to do, which is creative, useful work. They're all going to be all completely consumed by this bullshit.
What I wonder is if Chris sent him this. I'm just kidding. Because it's weird, is this almost goes in tandem with the stuff that Film Threat's been releasing.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, because it's like you have the one side that's like, okay, they've enlisted all these things here. Okay, then he put out that
struggle session video.
Well, no. I'm talking about the actual thing you have to fill out. I think this is what you get with that. That's what this feels like. I think that this is the pamphlet that you get with that to explain to you why you have to fill out this long ass form about all these personal questions.
Yep. So that's the DGA stuff.
The WGA's thing, which oddly enough, in the negotiations that I'm doing right now, we've been told not to participate in that.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, but we're not working with Disney, so.
And then Film Threat has that video that got pulled down briefly, but they put back up, showing a struggle session with semi-employed writers advising unemployed writers the secrets of writing. The people
the
with almost
sensitivity read. Yeah.
the people with almost no credentials, no real experience, advising young writers on how to get into the trade, and it was a horrific video. It's all the same thing. People are not talking about this shit. I mean, when I sit down to write a screenplay, I'm trying to just make it the funniest thing I possibly can, and then have, script.
And these writers would put you through a struggle session.
Fuck
and
them.
Would demand that
it would be the funny. I would dare them to do it. I would love it.
Demand you go through a struggle session that is a sensitivity read, where you will pay for the pleasure of being told how horrible
getting my
you are.
nuts shaved.
This is what Scientologists do, where basically you have to do all this auditioning, and if you think something negative about L. Ron Hubbard, you have to go to like this other struggle session at your own expense to confess your sins and be told how horrible you are and to do better. This is the same basic cult-like thing right here.
What happens is that there's a checkbox at the top of the form that says, "Are you comfortable with your own opinions?" And if you check yes, then you're gone. They don't want to continue.
I would actually pay to watch Paul make a struggle session go through a struggle
I would love to do it.
I think that's a good video idea, actually. You know what? Write the script, send it to them.
I know, it's kind of writing in my head right now.
I need to do it with real people.
You'd almost have to do
it. It has to be with real people who are completely inculcated in this entire religion. That I can't think of. I mean, I don't think I could write it funnier than actually doing it for real.
And to do it in reality. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
is that when you have like the Babylon Bee do a parody of those people and the reality of them, there's no difference. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, they're walking jokes.
It's true, and I mean, we'll talk about that. I think you could actually do it as a skit if you can't get.
I probably could, but
yeah,
I need like one of those epistemology moments where I'm doing it on the street with real people.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's the only way I think it could.
Well, it needs that authenticity to it. I mean, the Babylon Bee could definitely do the sketch, but I will say I've seen a number of their sketches. I've encountered the real life thing actually, and it's way funnier in real life.
Funnier.
Than
you're probably right, but if not, you got at least you can make a fake ad to where you can put like, do you need to go through a struggle session? Well, call me. I'll put you through a struggle session.
Or do a sensitivity read where it's like, this is too sensitive. You got to go harder.
Yes.
For an extra $19.99, you can get a sensitivity reading.
I'm going to write it down.
This screenplay is not offensive enough. What the heck?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a video about that film thread thing.
Paul will put you through a struggle session. I want to see that.
That's right. That's right.
For only
Who are your parents? How come you turned out like such pussies? What's with you?
Shit.
Anyways, this stuff that's coming out, I think, is good and horrific at the same time. And ironically, it's the entertainment industry that could lead our way out of it, because businesses have become deified, and they're not in any except for some of the Silicon Valley ones that have now killed their die departments. But it's not happening. And here in Canada, it's accelerating further. So I don't know when the end is near.
I think this year is going to be big and important in many fronts.
I hope so.
The resistance to DEI is mounting, with more and more people learning of its horrors, especially with Elon Musk and X having one platform that isn't controlled and doesn't succumb to it, and it happens to be the biggest one, and it just opens the eyes of so many people.
And also humor. We're making fun of it, and humor is the best weapon.
I think that this year is going to be a very, very rough year, 2024. And people who were like complaining, like, oh, 2023 was so horrible, or 2022, to like all of the last 4 or 5 years. I wish those people would stop, because last year is going to be taken over by next year, and next year is going to be worse. And no time has that been truer, I think, than this year. This year right here is going to be a year of massive conflict. We're going to see the true believers really, really escalate in desperation over the mounting resistance. So
that's called the final re.
Yeah,
That's
with
the
the
definition.
election going on, and we'll see what happens with that and everything. So yeah, this is gonna be rough. And you have like a certain interview that came out yesterday, only just feeds into that whole thing with culture wars and everything.
Well, not to
We're in
mention
for
the
a
other
rough and
news.
interesting ride.
Not to mention the other news about
Indeed.
willfully holding things back and then being incompetent at the same time. Yeah, we're not going to get into all that here. I do want to thank Jesus Davila, though, for gifting 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. Andre, when are we going to do a member stream? We got to do one soon.
We need castanets.
Let's try to do one over the course of this week. I should be able to do one this week sometime. One of the weekdays this week.
What'd you say, Paul?
We need castanets for anyone with a Spanish name. Not clapping. We need castanets.
Yeah. DCB Titan sends in a toonie. It says went from Mass Effect to M Effect. Chaos Sonic 1 says you all say Spider-Man got beeped in prison, but Superman got beeped in prison, but Spider-Man got snuggled as a kid in Spider-Man in the Power Pack. I will send you I don't know if I want to see this. So they're saying he got diddled. Lovely. ActionCom sends in 5 and says, Paul, under capitalism, man exploits man. Under communism, it's the other way around.
That's right. That's a good line. I have heard that before.
And then we've got go ahead, Andre.
I was just about to say that we also have Paul that unfortunately has to be leaving us.
Well, we're almost done here, actually.
Okay, yeah. So let's if you have 2 more minutes,
I'll stay 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Alejandro Diaz sends in CRC. What is this? I know we've had this before.
I honestly have to look it up.
Yeah. Guys, read a book. Under the Black Flag explains how pirates elected captains, how they distributed money. Excuse me. They even had health insurance.
Costa Rican Colon. Yeah, the pirates were quite the commies. Good socialists. Yeah, they were. They had like their own little communes. So they were hippies with swords that would rob other.
It kind of works in small groups, but is not expandable. That's the problem.
Then we got DCB Titan here, sends in 5 Canadian and says, so if the character is written black, you'll hire Michael Fassbender because of his talent, right? Well, no.
Don't think he's quite diverse enough.
Not enough. Then we've got ActionCom who sends it. Well, if Michael Fassbender starts sucking some dick, then we can talk.
Is that a rumor you're starting?
I could, just for him if he needs me to. It'll help his career. Isn't that weird? We flipped totally. 30, 40, 50 years ago, the last thing you wanted to do if you were gay was let anybody know that you were gay, right? Because then it would ruin your women, fawning over you and stuff like that if you were an action star or something like that. Nowadays, that's how you get farther.
That is still true, but it's more limited now. It's limited to like the guys like I'm not saying that Chalamet is gay, but I'm saying it's still true for him. Like the kind of guys that are very popular with the girls and that have a huge fan base of young women. If they are gay, which I'm not saying that Chalamet is, but they still want to keep that hidden because much of that female fan base is going to go away because it ruins their fantasy.
Well, I know one actor in Toronto who is a guy who's gay, but wants to build a career along the lines of the old Hollywood actors and doesn't want to come out as gay. Just doesn't want to. It's his choice. Many people know he's gay, but they're mad at him for doing that. And so he can't get work because ironically he refuses to come out
in the closet. So like if he were to come out of the closet, then they would hire him.
Correct. But because he refuses to and wants to portray straight men, and he's a fantastically good-looking guy, Rock Hudson kind of type, and he can't get work because he refuses to come out. So how's that fair?
It isn't.
It isn't. But it kind of proves my point, actually.
Yeah.
Hyper Guyver sends in 5 and says, Paul, if you do an actual sensitivity read, I'll definitely tune in, especially if you control the crap out of them. The meltdowns would be hilarious. I mean, you probably could pay people to actually get this done.
I've done videos where I've got 4 people in it. I might just resurrect that group of people. If you watch my sketches on my channel, you'll see I've got one bit where I am auditioning for a role that I wrote. I wrote the screenplay, and I'm auditioning for a role for myself. But because they want to race and gender swap me, I can't play myself in my own movie. So that's kind of a funny bit. I like that.
No, but I'm talking about
for it. Yeah.
I'm talking about an actual struggle session.
Oh, no, that would be another. Yeah, but I can use those same 3 characters, and I know what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah,
I got you. I'm sorry.
Just, I've got this set of characters that I keep using over and over for those sketches, so I can just.
And Chaos Sonic says he sent you the link, Andre, but he can't find Tom. Well, I'm pretty easy to find on X, actually. At Thomas Connors Jr. I'm sure the mods will share it in the chat, but we got one real quick story before we go, because the hits just keep on coming for Disney and people who are associated with Disney. I'm sure you guys have seen this already.
Yeah.
2 more accusers come out. Well, these 2 are the ones that talked to Rolling Stone, to be clear. But one of them is a Lovecraft Country crew member who recalls difficult behavior as well now. So yeah, this is amping up again some more for Jonathan Majors. I don't know if you guys wanted to react to this real quick before we head out.
I was abused by Jonathan Majors.
I knew
my
you
quick
were.
reaction is, why bring this up now? I mean, it's too late. The trial has been. It's already done. It's over. Why do you bring this up now? Like, why bring up old shit now? If there was a time, it was 6 months ago.
Yeah. I think it's
why wait until now?
It's the actual argument to the counter argument. When people would say, well, why are these women suddenly talking about it now? Do you really think they care about detention or money? It's like, in some cases, now we know for sure they do, because that's possibility when it comes to these 2. Why bring it up now? There's no other reason. It's not for justice, because that apparently has already occurred. So what's the point, right? Mm-hmm. So clearly there might be something for these 2 women. I mean, it's good that they're coming forward, but a little too late. But maybe they're trying to do something else.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's to me, it's too late. I mean, now at this point, I mean, come out 6 months ago or don't come out at all.
Well, like I said, they did talk to Rolling Stone a few months back, but now they're
talking to the Hollywood Reporter as well.
Well, I think Hollywood Reporter just picked up on the Rolling Stone, because Rolling Stone wrote another piece on it, which I sent.
Rolling Stone is the epitome of journalism these days.
Rolling Stone is an utter joke these days. It's just such a sad shame to see what has come out of a once great anti-establishment publication.
Good things can't last forever.
Which today has become a personification of the establishment.
It sounds like, just from what I'm reading here, these allegations sound very similar to the same kind of allegations that the most recent one had made as well. So that's probably another reason why Rolling Stone is doing this now. But anyway, ActionCom sent in 10. Did we not read this one? I thought we did, but I guess we missed it.
It was on screen. I don't know that we read it.
I don't think we read it. Yeah, ultimately the idea was to bypass the HR person who would that a underrepresented group resume and put it straight into the garbage. Would Quotas fix that?
Well, now the HR personnel are completely hijacked and hate white people.
Completely.
Yeah, they're the ones that are finding those resumes that would be in the bin and putting them up front.
Yeah. So those HR people who would do that in the past, they were evidently the first to go.
If they ever did it in the past. I mean, I've dealt with HR before in Hollywood. They're few and far between in competency.
Yeah. What people have to remember with HR, there are some people who suffer under the delusion that the HR is there to protect you from abuses of the company. No, the HR is there to protect the company from you when you have been grieved by the company. They can fire you and have everything legal in order. That's what HR is there for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes HR thinks they run the company. That's a different discussion.
Too often they do.
It's funny having a head of HR wanting to be part of each year's business plan. Anyway, I got to get going, and you guys are shutting down, right?
Yeah, and this Chaos Sonic one got me this thing. I guess it's about this thing that came out that I guess Peter Parker was diddled as a kid, but this was from like way back when, it looks like. So I'm not sure the relevancy of now.
Well, as long as Aunt May didn't go down on him.
Yeah, well, that's on Pornhub though.
But she did some things when she was Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah. That Uncle Ben was not too happy about. And then the Garth Knight returns. Uber B Man sends in one more super chat here for $1.99. Says Mein Kampf session coming soon from Disney.
That's right. We're going to have a Mein Kampf session. Everybody sit down in a nice circle. We're going to start now.
You will all have fun. We will bring the magic back. All right. Well, what do you got going on, Paul?
That is your comp. This is their comp.
So what do you got going on, Paul? Anything coming up, like a TV guide video?
I released a video commenting on the inclusion, the stuff that the quotas. And I think it's pretty good. There's some stuff now I wish I'd put in, but that's always happens. So please visit Call Me Chato and click on the video. It's quite fun and educational too.
Yeah. Something else fun was the woman I studied economy with back in the day. She did economy theory, and she didn't quite understand why she failed that one assignment, because she did such a great dissertation on this great work by Karl Marx, Mein Kampf.
Wrong author.
Yeah, wrong author. wrong title, at least. It was the title she had confused. She was thinking of Das Kapital.
Wow, yes.
It was just I just remember that. That is a good one. Mistake. Yeah. Anyway, script, what you got going on?
Tomorrow night, 7:00, I've got Scripts on Saturdays, where I'll be reviewing with a co-host a screenplay about high school wrestling that's kind of like in the schlocky B-movie realm of things. Quite interesting. And hopefully, if I hear back from a couple of lawyers in the next few hours, I might also have an announcement on that show as well.
Oh, so awesome.
Crossing fingers.
Yeah, the script shows have been great.
Thank you.
And then we got Jesus Davila, who sent in a 5 and says, Tom, just to be 100%, did the package make it to you? I haven't got a chance to get to the post office yet, Jesus Davila. Hopefully, if I don't get there today, I can try to get there tomorrow, but it might not be till Monday at the latest. Yeah, I'm at the mercy of when the post office is open and when I can get there between work and everything else. But as long as you're tracking things that it made it, it probably did. So I will check into that as soon as I can, sir. And then Robert sends in 2 and says, do we know how much the Suicide Game cost and lost? No. I was trying to find how much the budget was.
$70.
Yeah.
It is.
That's what Google told me. That's what Google told me. But no, like the actual budget for the game, I don't know.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't care about what it costs me. It's all.
Yeah, it costs you your dignity.
Yeah. I care
as far as loss,
I hope that's a lot.
And as far as loss, I couldn't tell you that either, but I do know that the searches for refunds on it spiked like, what was it, 800% the other day or whatever it was when that video came out. But anyway, Chaos Sonic 1 sends in another 5 and says, for context, it was a PSA for children of sexual assault in the 80s, and it was a link. There is a link where Peter is reminded of it every time he fights a villain. Okay. I don't remember that one specifically.
That's dark.
Yeah.
That is dark.
That's a little dark. But thank you so much, guys, for that. And as far as me, you'll find me someplace, sometime, somewheres. I'm sure I'll be on the Salty Nerd podcast tomorrow, stuff like that. Maybe I'll do some Mead Radio this afternoon. Andre, anything we got going on that we should plug?
Just stay tuned, and I'm sure there's going to be something over the course of the weekend, but not in the second.
Fade in.
All right, and with that,
it is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koala, koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given.